All right, greetings and welcome to Pop's Collection, where we dissect and reflect on a movie or TV show from my Pop's Collection. I'm Ron Tweedy. Joining me is Pops. And today we're going to be talking about M.O.D.O.K.
Howdy, everybody. M.O.D.O.K. Is that mental organism designed only for killing?
Sure, that works.
Or is it mobile organism designed only for killing? Or the other one is mechanized organism designed only for killing. So
Right.
they had all three there.
Yeah.
So it kind of could be M.O.D.O.K.
Sure.
Could be. All right. I know I'm getting off the wall here. So yes, this is a Hulu product, actually a Marvel product. Originally, it was Marvel Television.
Right.
But in December of 2019, Marvel Television was kind of absolved into Marvel Studios.
Right.
So things kind of changed with this particular program. So first of all, stop motion.
Yeah.
Animation. What did you think about that? How did you think that they did with that?
Well, obviously, since this is, Seth Green's involved in some level with this, it takes a lot of inspiration from his previous show on Cartoon Network, Robot Chicken, which, I watched a ton of that when I was a little bit younger. It's not that old, but it's old enough. So no, and obviously the animation is pretty crude. At least if Robot Chicken it was. And the reason why you watched it was because it was essentially a man-child playing with his toys, making up stories. But the cultural references were stuff from my childhood I really grabbed onto, and just kind of the warped sense of humor that Seth Green has, and you can see that all over this show as well. However, I will say that they do a much better job with the animation here than they ever did with Robot Chicken. Some of
Do
this.
You think that's on purpose, though?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they got a better budget, working with Marvel.
Right. Well, it's Stupid Buddy Studios, right?
Stupid Monkey, right?
No, Stupid Buddy.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. Mm-hmm. It is STOOPID.
Yes, that's right.
And STOODIOUS.
Yeah.
So
that's
Seth Green's company and others. It's not just Seth Green. Well, let's make that straight.
Sure.
And this Patton Oswalt and Jordan Bloom created this, wrote the stories for this, which there's kind of been a lot of talk about it because it was TVMA and because it was animated.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was likened to Robot Chicken.
Right.
But also to Harley Quinn, which was DC's MA.
Yeah.
The critics seemed to like it a little better than Robot Chicken, but not as much as Harley Quinn. But I really think that you can't really compare them too much because
exactly.
Harley Quinn is an animated cartoon style, whereas this is stop motion. So it's really a different venue or direction that they went in with this.
And it's a completely different genre of television, really. Well, I assume, I don't know. I haven't seen Harley Quinn, so I can't make that comparison. But this is a subgenre of like the comedy, right? This is actually written and told as a comedy, but it's a comedy in which every person is terrible and they're terrible to each other. And so that's kind of where the comedy, it's kind of like Seinfeld in that way, where everybody's just a terrible person, or Arrested Development. There's a couple other shows that are like that, where it's just a family comedy where everybody's terrible to each other. And so, it is that.
Well, it's like dysfunctional.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Right.
the way around. Yeah. Going from the workplace to
Yep.
no matter anything that gets done,
Yeah.
the episodes are about dysfunction.
Right.
They somehow get somewhere, but
yeah.
But
the other part of that is, I guess that makes sense for a villain, right? As opposed to a hero. So like, you're not really supposed to root for him anyway. He's a villain. So,
well, the original story plot, when it was Marvel Television, they were planning to have a series of shows like Marvel did on Netflix.
Right.
And it was going to be Tigra, Dazzler. They were going to have their own shows, even Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
And a character called Hit Monkey. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but all bad guys except for Howard the Duck. Really,
well,
he's not.
Dazzler's
and Dazzler's not. Oh, that's true. That's true. But anyways, and they were going to do a crossover thing like they did on Netflix, but it was going to be called the Offenders instead of the Defenders.
Okay.
So, but when Marvel Studios dissolved or absorbed Marvel Television, they actually, there was some talk, and I don't know if it's still on, but they were going to do the Hit Monkey, but not the others.
Okay.
So I would have kind of liked to have seen Howard the Duck, because that movie is so terrible. I'd really like to see something better for Howard the Duck.
Well, we did get a cameo of Howard at the end of Guardians, right?
Right. And he was also
voiced by Seth.
Yes. And also part of the second was it the second Guardians?
That's too? Right. Yeah. He was at the Contraxian.
The bar. Yeah. So, right. But I thought that would have been really good.
Could have been.
And Hit Monkey, I'm not that familiar with the characters. So
that sounds completely
off the wall, right?
Yeah. But that is part of Marvel's legacy. Is, sometimes they just have these off the wall characters that, end up, either appearing in a number of different books. M.O.D.O.K is kind of like that. It's just, he never, until like 2020, didn't get his own book.
Right. That's true. And I want you to know too, that he is on the IGN list of comic book villains, the top 100.
Yeah.
He is.
Okay.
He's actually number 100.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. He's a forgettable villain, I would say.
I wouldn't say forgettable. I would say he is, I would say unimpressive. That's probably a better word. Like,
okay. And maybe more like a lackey.
Yeah.
Than a main villain.
Not necessarily. I just think, like I said, his power level is just not there. That's the issue, I think. Because like, if you look, this is the first appearance in Tales of Suspense 93. Actually, this is like just a cameo, but they mentioned, you got the AIM soldiers in their garb, like the show.
Right.
And M.O.D.O.K just behind the screen in 93, and down there is Captain America and Sharon Carter. This is when Tales of Suspense became a book where half of the book was a Iron Man story, another half was a Cap story. But anyway, he makes his appearance in 94, and you could see, I think the design actually is extremely distinctive and unforgettable. In
that particular picture, yes.
Yeah, and
he looks pretty villainous and ominous, Yeah,
exactly. And so, obviously at the top of AIM, he's behind the, just similar to that. But like we said, I think he's unimpressive. He's very distinctive, but unimpressive. And so, Captain America bests him, of course. and just a couple of different other appearances. He's on the cover of Iron Man 296 in the 90s. Again, very distinctive with his design. And he also makes an appearance in Captain America 124. Let me get down to the place where he's actually at. Let's see. There you go. Again, yeah, very distinctive looking. Not unforgettable in my place. But in 2020, like I said, they did a Patton Oswalt and Bloom did a comic for M.O.D.O.K here, and I think that is truly the source material they were pulling from, because if you look at the last page or next to last page, you could see there's M.O.D.O.K's family right there in the background. So
yes, and so that was kind of weird.
Yeah,
but it was a 10 episode starter TVMA. Yep. So it was definitely for mature audiences. We're going to say right now, if any of our listeners that are not TVMA appropriate, you can't watch it till you become TVMA.
Well, I think there might be some episodes which would be okay. You could, if you can handle the violence of it. For instance, I'm thinking of like where they go to Asgard. Other than it being kind of gruesome when it comes to some of the Asgardians meeting their demise or kobolds. Other than that, it's okay. But
Tales from the Great Bar Mitzvah. I think that was our Bar Mitzvah War. Yeah, that was pretty good. I did enjoy some of the writing.
Yeah,
there was quite a few good things that happened in this.
Yeah.
I love the B-list villains that they used.
Yeah.
They were pretty excellent. And actually the characters for his family was done pretty well too.
Yeah.
For the most part. Work people. Okay. They tried to give one of the AIM characters a name.
Yeah.
To get them involved in it. But really,
sure.
Other than that, there really was not too many characters that were worthwhile watching when it came to AIM itself.
Well, you had what's her name?
The Scientist Supreme,
Monica.
Yeah,
that's right.
Monica, and you had also what was the other guy? The main guy that kept egging on M.O.D.O.K all the time. He was kind of like
the guy from Grumble.
Yeah, I can't remember his name right now, but Gary was the henchman with the one arm.
Yeah.
And you would have thought that, because he was so loyal to M.O.D.O.K that M.O.D.O.K would give him his arm back.
No.
But I guess it's the only way you can tell it's Gary, because everybody else.
Exactly. That is exactly what it is. Yeah, there's something distinctive for him. It kind of reminds me of what's his name, Gru from Despicable Me, and all the yellow minions around him. It's like very similar kind of thing.
Yes, come to think of it, it is.
Austin was the character from the guy from Grumble. So.
Thank you. Which this really became, I thought that they did a good job of interweaving the story between work and home.
Yeah, sure.
Thinking, first of all, him thinking he gets a victory because Tony Stark kicks him in the rear end and he kind of gets his boot. Yeah. Hey, it's a success. We had a victory. I got Iron Man's boot.
Yep. Yeah, and it does kind of go back to how AIM is considered kind of a joke, almost a joke organization. And we talked about AIM a little bit in Iron Man 3 when we did that episode. So we won't rehash most of that stuff.
Right. Well, AIM was also in the CG Iron Man Armored Adventures.
Yeah. Right.
So that was I think AIM was one of the major bad guys in that. And they weren't a joke.
Right.
But still.
Right. And in the Iron Man 3 movie, I always call it Extremist because I think that the Iron Man movie, they deserved subtitles. They never got them. Like, every other Marvel movie's got like a subtitle. They don't have a number after it.
Right.
That was a misstep. They should have called it Iron Man 3.
Yes, it was. It was, but we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But one thing I did want to notice is that Scientist Supreme is not just Monica. She is the Scientist Supreme in this show, or she becomes it.
Right.
But it's a title almost, I think, very similar to Sorcerer Supreme. It's kind of like just the
yes.
It's not mystic, it's scientific. And so, even at one point, Hank Pym was the Scientist Supreme, which is interesting.
Really, but he's on the good guy list.
Yes, he is.
Yes. So I love the episode where I can't remember if it was the first episode or the second. I can't remember. No, it was further down. Oh my gosh, because it's when he met the B list guys. He went to the A list place, and the leader.
4. Yeah, it's episode 4.
Yeah, episode 4, where leader was like, well, no, you don't belong here anymore, M.O.D.O.K. Sorry, it's like,
yep.
But I have a question for you.
All right.
Out of the B list guys, what was the one that you liked the best? Pound Cakes, Angar the Screamer, Armadillo, Tenpin.
Yeah, probably the Screamer guy. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, he was kind of like, he reminded me of like one of the guys on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, or
yeah, sure,
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were all interesting in their own ways.
Yeah,
especially Tenpin.
Yeah,
not so much of a juggler,
Yep. Yeah, and the cool thing about it is that a lot of the characters introduced, they are from actual comics. They're
right, exactly,
villains that are just like beat up and like they throw away after an issue or whatever, and they all show up at some point. Like for instance, Screamer or Scream, he's from Daredevil.
Right.
Volunteers to have his vocal cords enhanced or whatever, and so he turns into that. Melter's another one.
Yes.
So I mean, it's cool that they make those references back to actual.
Right.
And so we talked about that, how it's cool that they're going in a little bit deeper into the canon and bringing out these things. And the nice thing about this show is that it doesn't take itself seriously at all, and it kind of exposes AIM for the joke organization that it is. I mean, you think about it, modern times, of course it'd be acquired by a tech company, and if it's like if the highlight for them is capturing Tony Stark's boot, of course they'd be acquired by a tech company, right?
Yes. And I thought it was Austin was trying to discredit M.O.D.O.K through the majority of the movie, but what they wanted eventually, he was the one that repaired it or fixed it so that they could sell it, so it was like all along he was the guy. They turned around, they made Monica the Scientist Supreme. So I mean, he was kind of, I'm going to say through the 9 of the 10 episodes, he just didn't get, it never seemed like, it was kind of almost like whatever he did was destined for failure, and I think that was part of the story. Mm-hmm. But then you would get to the end of the episode and it would somehow turn out okay. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously Austin's motivations, it's kind of revealed that he's being controlled by some weird alien entity anyway, and so he's even though
did we ever get a name for them?
I don't remember.
If we did, it wasn't very memorable.
No,
it wasn't memorable at all if we don't remember, right?
Yeah.
Huh. And through most of the 10 episodes, mm-hmm. Monica is also anti to M.O.D.O.K.
Oh, of course. Yeah, because we see in a flashback that he takes credit for her work. And so obviously she's, bitter about that.
Yes. And then there were some different things that I really thought were interesting in that. The Monica's research on the manatee soldiers.
Again, I think that's, kind of the style of, it's very Robot Chicken-esque.
Yes. Oh yeah, no question about that. And then they came up with the replicas or whatever that were made out of they almost like Jello.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Also, I think I love the porthole episode where they went to Asgard and
yes,
he kills. Who does he kill? Oh my god!
Balder the Brave.
Yes, with a
space trash.
Yes, with a paper shredder or something.
Yeah.
And also, I liked the situation where he was the mailman.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he was trying to do things right, and of course, Monica's. Oh, he's got another agenda.
Nefarious plans. Yep.
He's got to. I mean, really. So, your favorites?
Well, I do like the one where they go to Asgard. I thought that was really cool. Just because that's going back to the quality of the animation. You can tell that they spent a lot of time making Asgard, the Golden City, the castle, the Rainbow Bridge, all of that. I think was actually really well done for what it is. And again, we talked about this kind of beforehand, but the scene at the very end when they're with all the B tier superheroes and Melter dies and he's sitting on the beach, just the way that they animated the waves, they put a lot of effort into that. It looks really good, for what it is. And it's like, you don't really expect that in a show like this for them to take that much time, but they did. And it looks really cool. And I thought that was great. And but I think my favorite episode has to be the where Arcade is in the picture, and I guess
that's episode 9, I think. No, wait. Oh God,
it's number 8.
Number 8. Yes.
Oh, we're blood thicker than robot juice.
Yes. Great, and that also is a character. That is character though that M.O.D.O.K invented, right?
Arcade?
No, the robot.
Oh, the super adaptoid you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of his characters. So that's
yeah. But I what I loved about that episode is that it always kept you guessing, who was the robot, who was the human, and M.O.D.O.K pretends like he's
right,
fooled by the other robots, and he's not. He's completely in on it. So it kept you guessing the whole time. It was really cool. And then at the very end, where there's 2 Lus left, they don't know which one is which, and they just decide, hey,
we'll just keep them.
We have 2 Lus now.
Yeah, it's that one. We have 2. Which it's interesting. The actor that played the voice for Lou, they modeled Lou after him.
Yeah,
they almost look exactly the same. So.
Oh no, okay, so that's Ben Schwartz. He was in Parks and Rec. Okay, yeah, John Ralphie.
Yeah. So I mean, they look a lot alike. Hilarious.
It's perfect.
And then, of course, his daughter Melissa.
Yes.
Now, see, that's for me. Mm-hmm. The episode that was This Makeover, I think that was episode 7.
Right.
When they made him over, it looked like they switched from CG. They switched to CG.
Yeah.
Because he was so well defined and looked, it just was like, wow, man. They spent that much time on that because it's all stop motion, right? I don't know how much CG is involved in it.
Well, I'm sure there's a good amount of CG involved. I mean, obviously with the portals and the time travel stuff, that was all CG, of course. And
right.
So some of that is there. But the interesting thing about that episode is like you really do get to see how terrible everybody else is in that episode, because like for up until then you're thinking that, you know, Jody, who is M.O.D.O.K's soon to be ex-wife, she's the victim, she's doing, you know, everything she can to keep the family together, and M.O.D.O.K is just a terrible person. But then it turns out she becomes just as toxic as he is, you know, manipulating Wonder Man into a relationship so she can boost the sales of her book or whatever.
Right. And well, Wonder Man's doing the same thing to her.
Yeah, which is, you know, it's just like I said, everybody's terrible and everybody's terrible to each other, you know.
Yes.
So.
And you know, Lou and Melissa are both feeling let down. And I think she wants to help her father.
Yeah.
For the most part. But every time she does, she gets bit in the butt.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You know, it's like, Dad, you got to play the long game, but M.O.D.O.K's not a long game player.
Well, I think what it is that, you know, obviously you can tell by the appearances that, you know, Melissa takes after M.O.D.O.K more, you know.
There's those, yes, ever so slightly.
But what's interesting is that, you know, she has his, you know, evil genius brain, but the difference is that she is more socially aware and M.O.D.O.K is completely socially unaware, which is the reason why he's having marriage problems to begin with. So she gives him just enough to kind of help him become a little bit more aware of those things, and he uses it like in a very toxic way. So
right, I guess the episode where they went on vacation,
right,
or they had to go to a meeting. Austin tricks them to go to a meeting where his whole plan is to, you know, humiliate him.
Right.
And she's like, no, this is what you need to do.
Exactly. She knew exactly what to do.
And he was being successful at that.
Yep.
Until he decided that he wasn't going for the long game.
Right.
You know, and then he screwed it up.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It was definitely an interesting series.
Yeah.
Do you have a least favorite episode that you?
I mean, like the beginning episodes, I think were kind of weak, particularly, you know, just this, like the one you talked about, where they go away to the corporate retreat and, you know, that kind of stuff. It was kind of slow there. So yeah, I mean, there's that, but I mean, it in general, it's pretty even. So
yeah, Third Eye Blind, man, in episode 2. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
Yeah,
well, that was like for instance, the pop culture references were really funny. Like the fact, like when Jody was trying to promote her new book, they were trying to get her to dress like Carmen Sandiego.
Yes, you know, yes.
Like, okay.
Yes. Well, that was the Adaptoid, though.
Mm-hmm.
That was playing her agent.
That's right. That's right.
And then there was Beware.
Yeah.
From What Portal Comes, Portal. And he wanted to get some bad villains to come and destroy everybody. Right. And instead he gets some party animals.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And then he thinks, oh, I'm going to be popular now and everything. Then he realizes that, oh no, they party until you die.
Right. That's their strategy. But yeah, and I think I think the ending actually is way stronger than how it started. You know, the time travel angle obviously plays a huge role in that. You know, his younger self just kind of pushes him into the possible future where he is, you know, world domination, but what cost, right? And then we see future M.O.D.O.K trying to get back to save his family because that's what he truly cares about.
Yeah, Days of Future M.O.D.O.Ks. That's the 10th episode. And when we decided to do this, we were reviewing, or we were doing the X-Men series, and we were doing Days of Future Past when we kind of saw this, and I thought, well, you know, it kind of works out.
Yeah. But like, actually all of the episode titles are taken, like they're play on some of the other comic, like like, you know, if bureaucracy be thy death, like, you know, if this be my destiny, which is from Spider-Man.
Yes.
You know, so I thought that was cool.
And okay, so if Saturday be for the boys,
Yeah,
was that a comic also?
probably. I mean, like obviously there's something like that. I mean, but
Yeah, okay, but we didn't get into knowing all that.
mhm.
Oh, we're blood thicker than robot juice.
Yeah, it just sounds like a title that Stan Lee would come up with when he was, working with Ditko or Kirby or, Colin or whatever.
Right, right. True that. What freaked me out is that M.O.D.O.K was all happy about all that, and they were all robots. His wife and
No, but see that's the thing. You thought that was M.O.D.O.K, but that was another robot of his, a whole robot clone of his while he was trying to save his family. Remember?
okay, yeah, that's
Yeah. So
true.
like, and that's why I thought the episode was clever because like he didn't really know who was the robot and who wasn't the robot, but he said that was a decoy to get younger M.O.D.O.K distracted while he goes and tries to find them and save the family, and then they end up in Arcade's murder world by then. So
Yes, and Arcade, is he an Iron Man villain or
well,
Daredevil? Maybe, I don't know.
well, the first time I saw him was actually not in a comic or a TV show; it was a video game. So in
Okay,
the early '90s, we had Spider-Man and X-Men, which was a action platformer game for the Super NES, and Arcade was the main villain there. And so what happens is he kidnaps the X-Men, and Spider-Man has to save them, and so that you have to go in his murder world to save the X-Men. So each stage, when you get to Arcade's murder world, you could choose Spider-Man, Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops, Gambit. Might have been a fifth one, I forget. But anyway, you had to, go. Each character had a different version of Murder World or level that they had to get through. So like with Storm, you were swimming through a labyrinth to try to get to the end of the stage, and Gambit, you were trying to outrun this giant ball that was rolling after you. So it was, but anyway, Arcade was the main villain of that. So it was a Spider-Man X-Men game of all things.
yeah. So you're saying that number 9 was your favorite, or number 8? I'm sorry, that's
Yeah,
Arcade.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's, to me, I think that was the most interesting episode.
yeah, yeah. I kind of struggle with that because I kind of did like number 10 too.
Oh yeah, that one's great too. I mean, you get the classic fight scene at the bar mitzvah and everything, and
Yes, yes.
which
Oh, it
is
was
fine.
great.
Yeah,
And you're right. There were things in each episode that uh, kind of was, how shall I say it? It kind of lifted up the episode a little bit
yeah.
to make it actually, because I have to say, there wasn't a single episode that I felt like I was going to yawn or fall asleep.
Oh yeah,
But then again, they're only what, 25 minutes long,
if that. Yeah,
or
and
or 20 minutes.
yeah, and that is the I think it's also has effect with Seth Green because the Robot Chicken episodes are 15 minutes long normally.
Right, right.
Right, and it is like if you have ADD or whatever, or you have a short attention span, there's always something happening in Robot Chicken where it just kind of flips to the next thing like after like 15 seconds or whatever. It's not, and I think M.O.D.O.K definitely, there's always something going on to further the plot.
Oh yes, and uh, you don't really know where you're going to be in the next minute.
No.
You could be at his home.
Yeah.
You could be at a restaurant. You could be at AIM.
Right.
It's really, I think it moves quickly enough that you can't get disinterested.
Yeah.
So, uh, do you think that they'll possibly have another season?
I
How do
believe.
you feel about it? Would you be interested in seeing a second season of this?
Well, there is definitely another season planned. Bloom revealed that in April, so that is probably something that's going to happen. For me, I'm kind of conflicted about that because in some ways, I don't trust the writers enough for them to actually make a redemption arc for M.O.D.O.K. what I would like to see is M.O.D.O.K to have a change of heart, get his family back, and actually not be, such a terrible person. And then, that way. But then again, that's kind of the whole point of the show. So
he's a villain.
It's not. This show is not really for me, in that respect. So, I don't know.
Well, I believe that it's redeeming for us because it really is a shining example of what kind of father not to be.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I'm interested. I'll be interested to see if they do the hit monkey thing.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be stop motion or if they're going to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
Again, that was the only one that there was not a nix on at the time that I looked it up. But
yeah,
I mean,
who
that
knows?
Could change.
Yeah, and depending on how well received this show is in the long run, I think will determine whether or not we get more.
Yes. Well, I have to say, as far as Harley Quinn TVMA, they did do a second season.
Yeah.
With that, and if I'm not mistaken, they were the same number of episodes as M.O.D.O.K. So, and the writers for that show, they did make the second season. Actually, it kind of was more like M.O.D.O.K, with her failing as being a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with her, Harley Quinn, everything she touched seemed to be disastrous. So
yeah,
it was a similar style of writing. And I would say to you that I bought it only because it was on sale.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't pay full price for it, but not that bad of a series, Not anything though. Like you said, there are probably some episodes in M.O.D.O.K that younger viewers could watch. I have to say sincerely, there's not even a part of an episode that somebody that wasn't of TVMA age could watch with Harley Quinn. So
right.
At least this is a little bit better,
Okay.
So, what do you feel like as far as a show rating for it?
I mean, I'm kind of conflicted about that. Like, I think from a quality standpoint, the show is high quality. Like I said, for my personal taste, it's really not my cup of tea. So, I'd maybe give it a 6. It's definitely above average in that it's better than, again.
Right. If we rate it, if we rate it on the technical only, let's go with the writing, because that's part of not our cup of tea, but the creative aspect.
I think
the stop motion.
Yeah, I think it's
if
good.
If you rated just that in the CG,
it's
got to get a lot higher rating, right?
Yeah, it would be more higher rated, but I think overall for me, it'd have to be that score because, like I said, it's not really my thing. So.
Right. Well, it's not my thing too. If and when it comes out on DVD, I will wait until it goes on sale.
Yeah.
And let me specify that, like I did with Harley Quinn.
Okay.
When I say goes on sale, I mean goes on sale for the third time.
Okay. Bargain bin then.
Well, yeah, or just above it. Like, for instance, Harley Quinn was put out on the shelves at $19.99.
Yeah.
And then it went down to $14.99.
Okay.
And I bought it when it was $9.95.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's okay. I would have bought it at $5 if I could have got it in the $5 bin, but that's kind of the way M.O.D.O.K's going to be.
Okay.
And you gave it a 6, and I think that's a fair rating. I'm going to go that way too.
Okay.
You know, better than average. I really felt that the stop motion was done beautifully. And I do know Robot Chicken. Believe it or not, Pops actually sometimes stays up that late. And so I've watched a lot of Robot Chicken in the past.
Yeah. I mean, the
So
Star Wars episodes are classic. So.
Oh, yes, definitely. I've seen those.
Yeah.
And they were perfect. So do I need to purchase Robot Chicken Star Wars for my collection?
You don't need to, I don't think. No.
No, okay. Just if I find it in the bargain bin.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't even know if it's even on DVD.
I'm sure it is. At least some of it is.
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, okay, so good. We give it a 6.
Yep.
And any other thoughts that you can think of?
Nope. I think that is enough.
Okay. Well, yeah. It's like you said, not your cup of tea, and not really my cup of tea. But
right.
I did watch it because we made that decision. So, do you have any particular thoughts about our next show?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. So.
Okay. Well, I've got some ideas, and I'll share them with you after we close out the show.
Okay. Good deal. All right.
And that way we can keep everybody in suspense.
Sure. Okay, great. Well, with that then, thank you for listening to Pop's Collection. If you have any feedback, please feel free to like us on Facebook or on Twitter. And we will see you next week with something new and fresh. Goodbye and God bless.
Goodbye, God bless, and tell your friends.